Welcome to the second of our monthly webinars leading up to our Impact a Billion Summit in October. I am your host, Sonali Tamankar. I am a senior fellow at Transform VC. And our guest today is Neda Razavi. She is the CEO of iSono Health, a company that sits squarely at the intersection of deep tech and impact. And that's what we do at Transform VC. We work with traditionally underrepresented and overlooked founders who are using deep tech to make a social and climate impact. And you know how they say if your dreams don't scare you, they're too small? At Transform, our dream is to work with 1,000 such founders who will each impact a billion and make a billion. So you'll get to meet some of our amazing portfolio companies throughout this series. And today we have a wonderful conversation ahead of us, and we invite you to participate by sharing your questions in the Q&A. My wonderful colleague Kareem will be keeping track of the Q&A, and we'll reserve some time at the end to get to your questions. Uh, and also beyond today, we invite you to stay in touch with Transform VC, with iSono Health, and with Neda and me personally. And I'd love to see you on October 24th in San Francisco for our Impact a Billion Summit. So with this introduction, let's get started. So my first question, Neda, for you is just to introduce yourself in your own words. Tell us your story, the story of Neda Razavi and the story of iSono Health. What's in the rearview mirror for you, and what are your dreams going forward in broad strokes?
Hello, I am Nida Razavi. Thank you so much, Sonali, for giving me the time and the platform to have a conversation with you and Transform VC team and the audience. I wish I could see them. I've been on both sides of the table, both from the investor and also operator standpoint. My background is launching and commercializing medtech and tech bio products. But after years of pushing other people's product like rockets into the orbit, I realized it's time to fly my own. I have launched products for top S&P 10 health tech and tech bio companies such as Abbott Lab, Illumina, Roche Diagnostic, Baxter Bioscience, so MedTech, Biotech. I joined iSono Health as a CEO after being one of its early believers and, as an angel investor, because I saw the future of breast imaging hiding in a plain sight. And frankly, the status quo pissed me off. So to be honest, let's be honest, we're still using cold metal plates to squish women's breasts in 2025. And if you want to really put it in the context of we are using our iPhones and we are in orbit doing all kind of things, why are we still relying on a 2D shadowy and guesswork to find cancer? So that's the motivation that I wanted it to be on the forefront of technology. And I do believe iSono is changing the way things are done. We are the first FDA cleared 3D ultrasound that is automated, portable, intelligent, and doesn't need a skilled sonographer to do a whole breast imaging without squishing you. One of our patients said, this is a dignified breast imaging. And think about it as a self-driving car for breast imaging. Like we can scan a whole breast in 2 minutes, generate 3D coronal view like an MRI, and you don't need to wait and worry. I'll add more about iSono later. You've asked me to say, who am I as a person? If I want to look into the rear view mirror, I see myself as a woman who spent the past 2 decades in the positions of strategy, marketing, or product management, helping other medtech companies raise capital, build market, and also I sat at the investor tables. While also I raised 3 incredible children who've taught me a lot about resilience and negotiation than any boardroom could ever do. I have also navigated product launches, term sheets, and tantrums. Sometimes all of them in the same day and same minute. And somewhere in between diaper changes and due diligence, I realized I wanted to build something that's truly mattered. It's not just the market, it's not just for women. Like my daughter, is for everyone that deserves a healthcare system that sees them early, clearly, and equally. As I'm looking ahead, I want to see a vision where no woman dies because she lived too far from the radiology center or waited too long or had too dense breasts to be seen. That's on the what's on the road, and that's what I like us to buckle up for.
That's awesome, Neda. You're humanizing this. This is wonderful. And to give, I want to ask more about the actual device that you guys have built and to give some context for breast cancer. If it is diagnosed early, my understanding is that it is very treatable, and there are sometimes for some women, it is very difficult to get diagnosed early enough, either because of their life circumstances or they just don't can't make the time between diaper changes to go and get screened. So the easier we make it, the better it is for women everywhere. So can you tell us about the actual device? How do you make it easier? So you have built the world's first AI-driven portable and automated 3D breast ultrasound scanner. So, can you tell us more about how the device works, especially the hardware part of it? And we'll elaborate on the software part later.
That's a great segue to talk about how do we impact the billion, right? So I will give you two angles. Well, first, I want to walk you through a typical patient journey and what's happening. Then I'll tell you about the device and gig out about technology. So typically, the patient journey is actually very frustrating when I really think through it. It's insufficient and is ripe for disruption. A woman walks into the clinic for her annual mammography, which the prescription was written for this mammo, more likely from an OBGYN or primary care physician. So this is her second visit on doing what she was doing. But if she's one of the 48% of American women in the US that have a dense breast tissue, is in America is about 40 million Americans. If you look at Asian country, this number is up to 70%. So a big population in that area. Mammography might miss what is supposed to be found. If I want to put an analogy, is if you're trying to find a snowflake in a snowstorm, or if you put your sunglass shades on and you want to look through foggy area and find a lesion of interest. So these machines, they say they just look like cloudy and they can't see the images. So if the woman has a dense breast and they have a tumor or a lesion, it might be missed in mammography. So what happens? So she's asked to come back for diagnostic mammo and diagnostic ultrasound. Well, first they are sent to a screening and then diagnostic. So this is the third visit. So when they are sent for ultrasound, the problem is that ultrasound isn't like a blood pressure cuff, you put it on, right? You require a skilled sonographer, you need a high-end machine, you need a radiologist that is on site or on call, that is directing the sonographer what to do. And then at the end, radiologist would read the result. That means another appointment, another copay, another few weeks of anxiety. And because there is a huge shortage of the skilled sonographer, the time to get them to appointments sometimes is way longer than an anxious woman who's trying to figure out what is the result of their breast imaging. So in most cases, the OBGYN and primary care, that is where the initial request of imaging starts, and I'm talking about over 80% of them, don't even have equipment or any staff to do breast imaging. So now you got millions of women bouncing between facilities and delaying diagnostic. And in many cases, they drop out of follow-up of the care completely because it's just not attainable. So now let's geek out about the system and how are we going to change it. At iSono, we built ATUSA. It's the automated, portable, and AI-powered breast ultrasound. I will be showing a video as I'm speaking because that helps understanding of the technology a lot easier. If you don't mind, I will share my screen and I will speak over the video. Is the video come true?
Yes.
So think of it as a Tesla of ultrasound, right? Instead of self-driving down the highway, instead of driving it down the highway, it self-drives itself, right? So it's a wearable scanner. This is a bra that is put on the patient. It's soft and form-fitting that captures thousands of images. Is only 2 minutes. No handheld probe is needed, and no operator variabilities exist because it's like everything is done the same way every time. And then it reconstructed data into coronal, sagittal, and transverse views, just like an MRI does. I must admit the MRI is a completely different image modality. It is not possible to compare ultrasound to MRI from sensitivity and what the image does. But to put it in the context, MRI takes 45 minutes, usually requires injection to create the contrast. At the minimum is $2,000 cost out of pocket, and it requires a long way to get to. This is a quick, fast way of, in just 2 minutes, with iSono's ATUSA to acquire the images. And then, of course, you don't need the sonographer, you don't need the radiologist to be on site, and you can perform this. The AI, however, handles the construction, reconstruction, creating the image in the 3D you see. Once we have the AI FDA cleared, right now the device and software is FDA cleared. Once the AI FDA clears, and there are multiple different AI products that are allowing the clinicians to get more help. I will add more comments about the AI as we progress through the webinar today. A radiologist can read these images from anywhere. So let's assume you acquired the images in New York or Nairobi. You can read them anywhere, or a Starbucks if they have a decent Wi-Fi. So for the first time, you have an ultrasound as a service. It's a SaaS ultrasound. We're turning breast imaging into plug-and-play solution that you can leave in any urgent care. You can bring it to mobile clinic. You can go to OBGYN office or even breast imaging centers. They have already deployed demo units in Bronx, New York, where access is scarce and need is high. We have enrolled 3 clinical sites that are collecting data, and we will continue doing more. We live in the world where your watch can detect your oxygen and your car can park itself. It's about time for us to do breast imaging in a modern world that can catch up with what is the technology out there. ATUSA helps us collapse the diagnostic loop. It helps us bring the imaging clues to the frontliners and also give clinicians the superpower of seeing what they need to see in one go. My hope is, going back to what we had Impact a Billion, no woman would die simply because they were told, wait and see.
Thank you for describing this. And the video also kind of helps us picture the device itself. And I do invite you to talk about the AI layers now, because if I think of just a simple daily example, right? Like there is the hardware in my refrigerator that keeps my food cold. But today, as you're saying, like the world we live in, we have the technology to do so much more. The fridge can potentially sense when I'm out of milk. Potentially it can interface with my grocery store, order milk. I can imagine a little tiny robot that kind of goes, opens my front door and picks up the milk that is delivered, goes and actually stocks it back in the fridge. There are so many layers that we can have with each layer, we have added convenience, our life becomes simpler, but there is also added risk and other potential repercussions. So how does healthcare industry in general is approaching these layers today? And in healthcare, of course, it's not as simple as the milk, right? Like this is life and death issues. So how is the industry approaching these layers, and how does iSono think of these different AI layers?
I love the fridge metaphor because it's exactly what we should think about in for AI in healthcare and layers of intelligence. So I would emphasize this is a layer of intelligence, not replacement for the clinicians. For iSona's case, we are not replacing the radiologist, right? So when we think and talk about AIs, the layers in healthcare, we're really talking about making these tools and gadgets as our teammate, right? The system doesn't just gather data, it learns from it, it can act on it, and eventually can anticipate what needs to happen before humans can even think. That's the layer of AI we're talking about. So take radiologists. For years, we had this PACS system that stored images, and radiologists did all the interpretation and everything in there. Then it comes CAD, computer aided detection. And CAD has been around for a while, where we it was like giving our radiologist a second pair of eyes. It had a lot of its own challenges and problems. There was a lot of inconsistencies and false detection, but it was also clunky. But fast forward today, we got AI modules that can flag long nodules, prioritize emergency cases, even generate a structural report in real time. Tell them what you're looking at. There is no longer second sets of eyes, is a triage assistant, is an analysis, is sometimes even a scribe, can describe what the physician sees. So what you're seeing in the same layering of this industry, the different industry, you will see in this industry, in the healthcare industry. For example, when you're talking about autonomous driving machines, for example, you got sensors for awareness, you got software for interpretation, or you get AI for decision making, braking, steering, changing lanes. But no one to start with the self-driving part, right? So you cannot do it all in one go. And that's how you need to think about AI in healthcare. You build each layer, validate them safely, get the feedback loop, and go to the next. So that was the progression of telling you from CAD, we go to the next level, segmentation, all the other aiding diagnostic tools. At iSono, we do the same thing. The first layer was automating image capture, right? And making the mechanical part work. Scan the full breast, no operator variability, standardized image acquisition part. Now we add the layer of AI that it gives you reconstruction and the standardization. So that part is already FDA cleared and done. So every radiology can see the same comparable 3D view. Next layer we are building, we are going to flag abnormalities and potentially suggest BIRADs, and eventually integrating those with clinical risk calculation or even density calculation, which if you look at today's technology, if a woman between age of 20 to 40 wants to know their risk or wants to know their breast density, there is no tool available for them. X-ray, which mammography is X-ray based machines, are not designed for young population, especially for women of bearing child age. So we believe providing tools that are filling a gap in the market is going to open up a lot of hopes for our young generation. There's a lot more cancers being diagnosed in early ages of 30 and 35. You probably seen USPSTF, the U.S. Department of Task Force Services, reduce the age for screening from 50 to 40. That was mainly because of the higher incidence rate and morbidity in the younger population from breast cancer. And of course, that population happened to have a lot more dense breast. So so going back to the AI conversation, each new layer adds not just capability, but also accountability for the company. That means that we have regulatory help hurdles. We have to explain how we got to what we got. We have to report our sensitivity, specificity. We need to build trust with clinicians and with patients. And also it's like aerospace, it's not like an app. The app is easier. They have to carefully and modularly, with deep respect for what it takes, develop each of these layers. Because in going back to your analogy, in healthcare is not just about restocking milk, it's about catching tumor before it becomes a tragedy.
Thank you. Thank you, Neda. I'm really enjoying how you're kind of opening up these layers to us and explaining a lot of the technology behind and the science behind what you do. And I want to echo also what you said earlier. I wish I could see our audience because I saw earlier that all of you who are listening today come from your own different backgrounds, and a lot of you are from healthcare. There are a lot of CEOs joining us, many diverse backgrounds. So we would really like to hear your questions, and so please keep typing as we progress through our conversation today. So Neda, you mentioned the markets, and I'm wondering your technology, as you're saying, it is a much more lightweight thing. It's not like this big bulky machine. So it's a really innovative and breakthrough technology. So does that open up new markets for you? And even before you go to market, you have to cross these regulatory hurdles, right? So like not hurdles, because they are there in place. They are there to protect all of us. So the necessary steps, right? So how do you kind of navigate all of that?
So that's a great question. So to me, breakthrough technology doesn't enter existing market. It creates entirely new market. It's like Airbnb. They entered hospitality market, but they created. People initially at the beginning said, "Oh, it's not a hotel." Now Airbnb is $100 billion category of its own. I can go on and on and on different categories created. Like Netflix changed how we watch movies. So at iSono, I feel the same thing. I also feel if I presented something to clinicians and it was not making them uncomfortable, the product is not innovative enough. It comes with innovation where you're challenging a status quo. You're bringing a market that doesn't exist. So ultrasound have traditionally lived in radiology departments tied to large cars, highly trained operators and sonographers, and a hospital workflow. But the ATUSA changes that physics of access, right? So physically, the product can go anywhere. It could be in a mobile clinic. It's portable. It's automated. It doesn't need a sonographer. Suddenly, you don't need to just sell to hospitals. You can bring the breast imaging to OBGYN. You can bring them to urgent care. You can bring them to retail clinic. You can bring them in CVS and literally put a tent in there or mobile vans. It is turning the specialist tool to a frontline diagnostic platform that can be operated by many, right? So because we're unlocking an entirely new addressable market, one where bottlenecks isn't just reimbursement, is workflow integration, training, trust, and regulatory clarities. So going back to market, you have the market challenge of innovation and also looking at navigating regulatory pathway, like trying to hike a trail that is still being built, right? And we have some people telling us, oh, ACR requires us to have a sonographer to get reimbursed. These are regulatory pathways and challenges that we need to. ACR is American Society of Radiologists. American College of Radiologists, which is a very important certification regulatory guidance body for the radiologists. So these are hurdles that technology has to overcome as we are building new technology. We got our FDA clearance by demonstrating our hardware meets the gold standard of safety. and image quality of, a predecessor, like a product that existed before. But the moment you add adaptive AI, then that trail start becoming a fork. Right now, you're in a new world of software, medical device. Your algorithm, we do have to think through algorithm updates. When you do an algorithm update, do we do a new submission, or can we just update as we go? Unless you've built your system on locked modules, which sometimes is a bad idea for AI, as you know, and you can explain your output and plan for your real world performance. There are things for us to figure out, to be honest with you. So I'm not answering your question with a clear answer, because there are things that needs to be worked out, and I need to learn of what are the regulatory requirements. But here's the thing: if we start with the regulatory strategy baked into our product roadmap, we can avoid delays, and that's what we are doing. We're learning, we are hiring consultants, we're trying to build that trust with the clinician and with the patient and regulatory body. And hopefully our investors get on board with us. Usually they don't like to, see a lengthy roadmap to market, which I understand. But breakthrough doesn't come breakthrough just because they're clever. They are breakthrough because they can cross the chasm. They can cross the chasm safely, scalably, and with a map in hand. And for us, playbook for iSono is, let's just stay safe, compliant, not get ourselves into trouble, and march forward.
Yes, and you're absolutely right, because when you are working at the forefront, is some of the AI today is moving, or technology in general today is moving so fast that even regulations, they have to kind of keep up and change and adapt, right? So it is wonderful work that you are doing, and very difficult. And I also liked what you talked about the market and opening up new markets, because at Transform we are an impact investing firm, right? So we want to, and that is what attracted us about your company. That was very attractive to us, that you are reaching new people where you do need to reach. So how does iSono keep impact front and center in all the work that you do?
I would say impact is from multiple fronts, from the product design, from product design and roadmap, as well as market commercial strategy. I would add a layer to it. We also do things to help the industry as a whole and education of patients move forward, which is not necessarily a KPI and a quota on revenue. So from product design, the design of the system is focused on keeping the service low cost and also equitable, like anywhere that you can take it. And the device operates on a battery, where the battery can charge overnight and does hundreds of scans per charge. Also, you can acquire images on a desktop application without connection to internet. And once you connect to internet, you can upload to the cloud. So there are work that has been done on the product front that allows us access areas geographically and areas segment-wise that are not normally able to use other types of ultrasound. On the second point that I mentioned was in working, expanding education. There are more work coming out of our shop. We partner with bipartisan groups and coalitions to increase education and work and lobby for women and their rights for getting their imaging without paying extra copay out of pocket, because we know the existing imaging modalities are not efficient or enough to address what's needed to see in their breast. So why do we make, when we know the technology is not sufficient, why do we make them pay out of pocket? So our company is a part of Find It Early Act. We partner with societies and industry advocates like AdvoMed, where we voice a louder voice and stand up hand in hand with the rest of the providers in the market. We do partner with what you would call competitors in building a market that is benefiting the clinicians and the patients alike. And lastly, I forgot what my last point was, but I'll come back to. Oh, it's about market and commercialization strategy. As a part of our go-to-market plan, we do allocate the small resources to partner with nonprofit organizations and research groups that are, their aim is to improve access and care other places. One example, we have a public disclosure on this one, and there is a press release. We are in a study with Vanderbilt, where they are examining 2,500 patients, 500 in Nashville and 2,000 in Uganda, where we are trying to shrink the patient care journey that I explained to you. So in one go, the woman that usually they don't have a way to get to clinic, they come in and do their breast imaging from screening, diagnostic, and biopsy in one go for them to have a full-on diagnosis. We are proud of this kind of work, and we are in the negotiation and discussion with other groups to do research or nonprofit activities.
Thank you, Nera. And this is like music to my ears. You know, it's really wonderful that you are approaching it from all these multiple fronts and partnering with nonprofits as well as potential competitors. But because this is a problem that is that applies to half of world's population, right? So we need to get screened. We need to have timely screenings. So we all working together is definitely going to get us there much more than the competition. So my last question, we have talked about iSono's work from multiple different angles, your technology, the journey of the women, and the impact angle. Now to approach it from another angle, if there are investors on the call, right? At the end of the day, you have to survive and you have to make a billion as well, right? So you have a wonderful market, you have a breakthrough technology. What are some of the other elements that investors should consider more than what you have already talked about?
Yeah. This is a tough one. I actually would love to ask investors to answer that. Um, you know, a lot of time when you think about why would a firm invest in a company, they would think about market opportunity, they would think about the technology differentiation, and they would think about the scalability. Um, they would also think about, is this product clinically and regulatory wise able and capable to commercialize? And the most important thing, they would think about team and timing. So as we're talking about impact businesses, obviously, I mean, one can argue what is the multiple the investor will get from each of the impact businesses. But the days of all unicorn is far gone, right? So the way we have to think about unicorn is very different. So as I put myself in the shoes of an investor, I constantly ask myself, are we building scalable technology that can address a need that is not already addressed in the market? And can we adjust our commercial strategy in a way that we will enter with the minimum amount of investment possible? There are multiple ways to bring a product to market. It is really important what commercial strategy works. And instead of going all out on one strategy, what I like to do is, in marketing term, we say A/B testing, A/B tested, meaning let's assume we did a market research. We believe the segment that is appropriate for us to start the market with is segment X. I would like us to do pilots and see how that goes before hiring a big army of sales team and sending them out. This takes a little bit longer. Some investors get impatient and they say, oh, you have FDA cleared product, go ahead, sell. but some impact investors that are focused on, longer term, they can understand why this strategy will pay off. I have another CEO friend who said because they were pushed to build the product and sell it fast, they accumulated 2,000 units of their medical device product as inventory. And when they go to market, and they got a great deal on CDMO, the manufacturing body that partner with them. When they go to market, they get customer feedback and they figure out that they need to adjust the product. And that's what you do when you're in a technology-driven market. And they change the product, then they have to go back to this CDMO and tell them, well, we made changes in the product. Can you change it? And the change becomes too many back and forth. They had to scrap all 2,000 units of inventory because it was not feasible. And you can imagine the amount of investment wasted, time and money as well. So I constantly ask myself, is there a way that I can return their investment without breaking the bank? So yeah, that's how I think about it.
That's wonderful, Nera. Thank you so much for letting me pick your brain today. Let's open it up to questions, and I already see one here. Is this technology available in the Middle East?
Not yet.
Okay, thank you.
I can add a little bit more.
Please do.
We have been contacted by Middle East market, a variety of from clinicians all the way to distributors and somewhere in between, where we learned because of the cultural limitations and also the resources, the product is really appealing. It's a no-touch scan, right? I am from Middle East myself, and I would love to bring the technology there. It's a matter of time and commercial prioritization, but we do plan and we are doing our investigation on which is the best path to Middle East market.
Okay, thank you. So I don't see any more questions. If there are more questions.
Now, I see a lot of questions in the webinar chat.
Oh, okay. I am not seeing it. Please take them one by one then. Let me open the other one.
Okay. Do you mind? Should I go ahead?
Please do, please do. Please go ahead.
I will start from the top. Okay. From Beth, how are trials and adoption going in the field? Are you currently raising capital? Beth, thank you so much for the question. These are two different questions. Adoption in the field, meaning that I'm assuming if the clinicians are using these in the clinic, we are in our cusp of early customer deployment. We call them the Pioneer Partner Program. We just announced the Pioneer Partner Program at ASBRS, American Society of Breast Surgeons, and we are in final stages of selecting a handful or two handfuls of sites to deploy to the customer account. We are really excited about it. As a startup, we are always raising, but as we are speaking, particularly at this moment, iSono is not raising, but I am more than happy to have conversation with you. Our next raise will be a Series A, so if anyone is interested, I could be available through my email, which Sonali will share with all of you. The next question, Mohammed is asking, is this technology available in Middle East? Mohammed, inshallah soon. From Pramita, do current changes in administration in the healthcare administration and tariff policies impact your business? The good news is we produce iSono's scanner, which is the most important part of our technology in the US. There are some components of raw material and the basic material that might be impacted. We are not at the largest scale to be able to, quantify that impact just yet. My anticipation is the impact on us will not be that large. Also, I want to distinguish between a couple of things. When people ask me about impact of the tariff, a lot of time they're referring to the end user. End user here for iSono's end user, I have two different types. I have the clinician that buys the product from us. We have the patient that goes under the scan. The patient cost is determined by healthcare system and reimbursement, and that will not be impacted by the tariff. Maybe down the line there is bigger premiums on insurances or a smaller reimbursement. That is something I cannot assess.
So Neda,
Um,
I can read out the questions for you just so you can take a breath. So is this tech available in most hospitals already, and how much will this examination cost?
That is a great question, and the tech is not launched yet. We are planning our launch. I will not disclose the date yet, but you will see from our shop coming out. Hint, hint, toward end of this year. I don't think hospitals will be our first target. In fact, we are focused on areas that don't have advanced sonography suites. So our focus will be to go where they need us the most. And then how much the examination costs is the same cost as what you will get in your normal breast ultrasound. There are some clinics that have reached out to us to acquire iSono for cash pay. Those services are also driven by the physician. So iSono does not provide what I call service, meaning that providing the imaging to you. iSono is in the technology business.
Thank you, Neda, and thank you, Eve, for that question. Our next question is from Daniel. He asks about, can you please talk about the radiology imaging data ownership? What would happen if the company gets acquired, similar to 23andMe?
Similar to any medical technology that you have purchased or seen in the market, the physician owns the data. And the patients, hopefully down the line, I cannot wait to see a day that patients own their data. I've been in genomic world, and this has been the topic for a long time. So iSono does not own patient data, and our acquisition should not impact patients directly. Except that, a lot of time, small companies innovate faster. And that's the only impact I could see if when we are gobbled up by a bigger company, that might slow down.
Thank you, Neda. And I'm keeping track of time. We just have 1 minute left. If people can stay a few minutes over, we will maybe. Can you stay a few minutes over, Neda? We can
I
go
can,
through the questions then.
yes. Go ahead.
And if you need to hop off, we understand. And thank you very much for joining us today. Our next webinar will be on June 3rd with Vectara, and Kareem is putting the information in the chat. So please do join us then. And if you can, please stay with us for a few more minutes while we go through the rest of your questions. And please do connect with us with Transform, with iSono, with Neda and me. We'll love to continue this conversation.
So
Uh,
Nalia, let me add, for those who are interested in the technology itself, on our website, there is a form that they can submit a request. So if they're clinicians and they like to see a demo of the product or they want to partner with us, they can submit one of those forms.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Okay, let's go to the next question from Yara. Is your technology going to tell us about the breast cancer stage? Because based on the stage, the treatment procedure will be dependent on the stage.
That is one part of our AI, the future AI product that we are working with clinicians. Again, your clinicians, your radiology will make the final call. The system will suggest on what is the potential diagnosis, but the clinicians accept or reject the suggestion from AI.
Awesome. Okay, I hope I did not miss any. I'm seeing another question. How long did the FDA approval take? And what advice would you give to founders pursuing the same path? That's a great question.
I am in so much learning curve myself. I don't even know if I'm qualified to give advice. But with our company from 2019 worked on the product development, and FDA clearance was in 2022. The only learning that I don't even know if I call it advice, but the only learning that I have had throughout the time is have faith, be resilient, learn fast, switch, and adapt quickly. And there's an expression in Persian we say, "Don't cry over a grave that doesn't have a dead body in it." So the minute you know it's not working, switch and move forward. Don't try to overanalyze it or beat yourself up for something that doesn't work.
Thank you, Nida. Uh, Question from Beth. Can you please speak more about how surgeons could potentially incorporate ATUSA into their workflow? ATUSA. Is that how you say
That's
it?
a brilliant question. That's a very good question because I did not mention any of the product features that different categories of clinicians could utilize. What is visible is that you can look at the breast imaging, but for surgeon standpoint, there are some products that are fully ready, like 3D rendering and 3D visualization of the lesion, where surgeons can do a pre-operation planning. And there are other product features that are in the development, very near future, is volumetric measurement of the breast. So a lot of time, surgeons would like to have a tool that give them a quick scan of the patient care and they can plan their operation. Know how much volume do they have to do to work with. We are also working on a module that is focused on neoadjuvant therapy monitoring. This allows the clinician to monitor the patient over time. So when the patient comes back, they don't send the patient back to the imaging center. They just do a neoadjuvant monitoring there. The base of our product is quantitative ultrasound. I should have mentioned this as a very important fact. Quantitative ultrasound has a promise of seeing bigger and more, like deeper and more tissue properties than normal ultrasound. Granted, some part of that science is still in research. iSono is planning to take those research and make them to actual product. And these are the work that will help us to be stronger in breast surgery room.
Thank you. Next question from Imad is, why do you still have radiologist in the process? Is a well-trained AI model better than human with image diagnostics?
Yes and no. There's a wisdom and understanding that radiologists have that no one AI product has. And we're not talking about one scales. There is multiple layers of so many elements that the radiologist has, and no AI, even combination of AIs cannot replace that. So think about it again, self-driving cars, right? Waymo still has been in the cities and have not gone to freeway for the longest time. Tesla would not allow you to drive the self-driving feature without you fully engaged. There is a lot of reason that human brain can do a lot more than just the AI. So I don't think we're going to be anywhere close, at least in the next 10 years that I see, that we can take a full collision out of the diagnostic loop.
Thank you, Neda. And I understand there are also liability and regulatory issues related
Oh,
to it.
wait, one more thing. The AI has to have the ability to read the patient chart, all the other images, and look at the patient as a whole and make a decision. Even if we fix the AI for ultrasound, which I still think we are ways away, the AI needs to learn how to think about a patient care as a whole. And that's even longer time. Apologies for interrupting.
Understood. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. And all your answers, Nada, and everything that you described. So Tali says, thank you for an excellent talk. And will the webinar be available to listen later? And yes, we will be posting this on YouTube. So please stay connected with Transform or with one of us, and we'll send the link. And Kareem has already posted one link for you to join. Um, so another question, and it's great that questions are still coming in. I think this is the last one that I see at the moment. Question: is there any global health tech community you advise us to join from us?
Oh, there's a lot of them. But I would like to know what purpose. Is this question coming from a medical device CEO, or does it come from a patient that wants to be informed, or is it coming from an investor who wants to track what are the technologies out there? I will have different suggestions depending on who's.
Medical CEO.
Oh, a medical CEO. I have like grow up professionally in the traditional medtech and biotech companies. So I always believe the industry societies that are science-based are really important for any CEO to be in tune with, understanding where the guidelines are, where the recommendation for workflow is coming from. For iSono, that is ACR, American College of Radiology, ASBRS, American Society of Breast Surgeon, and SBI. For a medical CEO, I also believe they have to be in tune with industry syndicates. There's AdvoMed, there is MDMA, there's multiple different ones that I would highly recommend a medtech CEO to be in tune with. And lastly, a medtech CEO, I believe they have to have their peer groups. I have a lot of CEO friends that I call from talent issues all the way to investor issues or anything in between. So I'm part of different CEO bands, if you call them. And I get advice, and I have them on my texts and the other CEOs, because we are all on the other side of the same table. So we all see similar investors, we all hear the stories, we exchange notes, and sometimes they save me a lot of time by not going to a certain investor, for example, because the investor reputation is certain way. Or if I need a regulatory consultant, I call my CEO friends. And I don't take chances on trying to fish in the LinkedIn market.
Thank you, Nida. As Yara says, great webinars, impressive work led by women for women. And this has been really wonderful talking to you today. Excuse me. And thank you everyone for joining and for staying over time and for all your questions and enthusiasm. Please do stay engaged with us. June 3rd is next webinar, Vectara, and October 24th is our Impact a Billion Summit in San Francisco. We hope you can join, and thank you again. Let's end here for today. Thank you for joining and hope to stay connected with all of you.
I
Bye.
appreciate Transform VC's support. Thank you so much for giving me platform.
Thank you, Neda.
Have a
Bye.
good one. Bye-bye.